Welcome to the next lesson. Today we are going to be going into lesson number 9, create a banner image. So you head on in and hit the glitch template. You'll be able to see a couple files. First, just like in the previous lesson, the answer to the index.html as well as the styles.css in case you get lost. But unlike the other one, we have brought over our finished code from the previous lesson to this one, and we're going to continue on to it. So if you saw the last video and you're jumping to this one, this should look familiar. If yours is a different color or slightly different, or you fix the width here so that it is in a flex box instead so it matches better, it's something I ran into afterwards. Any sort of addition is fine, but if you follow the other lesson to the T, you'll have this big blank empty space. And this is going to be a quick one, hopefully. And we are going to just create an image that's going to work as just a banner image. It's going to be full width, as big as we can, right there in this spot. So let's get started. We're going to go into our index.html. We'll see that our header is already completed for us from the previous lesson with a div class. And it has our navigation and logo image right here. So we're going to erase this right here. And the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to just put an image there to see how it looks by default. So if we do image src, self-closing, and we check in our assets folder, I already have the picture I'm going to use here. You can use the Google Images method that I showed you in a previous video to go in and save a picture, but make sure it's large. This one is about 1,000 pixels wide, like desktop standard width, but you can play around with a couple pictures. I'm just gonna put this one in as an image source with no attributes just to see its natural size without any sort of adjustments, to see if we have to do anything, if at all. So in Glitch, if we've thrown something into our assets folder, we can just grab it here and then hit this button to copy it to your clipboard. Copied. We head over to our index where we wrote this image tag with an empty source, and we're going to just paste that in right there. So let's see how our image looks now. Alright, I'm going to say that that is too small. I want it to fill out the whole page. Now how can I do that? Let's see. We are going to want to create a responsive image by creating a container that will, yes, be 100%. Okay, so this is how we can do it. The very first thing you want to do, and there's lots of ways to achieve this effect, this is just the way I'm going to do it. I need to wrap my image in a empty container. Well, it's not going to be empty because the image is going to be inside. Let's just take a look. This is our image, and I'm going to create a div. I'm going to indent this one level in. I'm going to create a div called class image, one second, image container. It's close enough. Make sure that you bring the closing tab back out so that the image is the direct child of this one div. Now I'm going to throw a border around this div and then a blue border around the image, and we're going to see if we can see a difference between the two so we know which one is which. Again, here's the styling from our previous lesson, ignore all that. And down here we're going to do banner, what do we call it? Image container. Let's just throw this one on for now and we'll see what we've done. So we just created a box around our image, and our image is that little square. Let's take a look now. Okay, so then we see that the box that holds our image is the entire width of the page. So that's good. What we want to do now is, through some CSS trickery, we want to make our image be the full width of its container and make the height of the container the entire height of whatever's inside of it, and then we're going to make that image respond in the same way. So, okay, this is going to be good. Let's go ahead into our container and we're going to give it a width of, let's see, let's keep our image container as it is, and let's actually give a class to our image. Okay, let's see, where do we have an error here? Right here. Okay, so we've given our div a class of image container, and we've given our image a class of banner image. So when we go in here, let's just see what banner image does by giving it a blue border. Okay, so we're gonna figure this out together, because I actually don't remember how to do this. Okay, so that's our image. What happens if we give our image a width of 100%? Will it take the full width of the container and be that thin, but at least that long? Let's see. So what we're saying here is we want our image to be 100% of its size. And yes, that is exactly what happened. Our image now takes the full width of the container, but keeps the same size. It's the same height. What happens if we do our height and we say, don't bother using the height of the container, be the exact height of the image? And our image is pretty large by default. We can check that by looking in here. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty big. So we can make this into any size we want. So will this now be, if we set the height to auto, does that mean that it's going to be 3,000 pixels wide, 2,000 pixels tall? Well, let's see. We set it to 100, we set the height to auto. Okay, well, let's take a look. All right, looks pretty good. It's bent over there to the left a bit, but otherwise it'd be perfect. Let's remove these borders and see if that does anything. Looks like we didn't really need this container. Oh, we actually did, because it needed to take the shape of the full width of the container. Otherwise, if we set the width to 100, it might be just set in the body and we'd get some unintended consequences there. But let's just see what it looks like without the borders. Ah, and do you see how these two are lined up? That means that something we did earlier in the previous lesson is now coming back to bite us in the butt. We set up here that all images will have a margin left of 50 pixels. So what we should do is never make a styling that has those kind of effects, because we don't know when we're going to use images later, and we should change this one in a future lesson. But just to fix one, I'm going to say in this particular image, I want a margin left. Remember, it's 50%. Let's just take a look. 50 pixels for all images. And this is an image, so it has a right here. See how they're both lit up? And that one over there too got moved, the little fish. If we take the margin left off all, they all slide over to their spots, but that's not what we want. We just want it to happen to this one. Or more precisely, we only want it to happen to this one, and we don't want the other ones to be normal by default. But let's do it the easy way now and give it a margin px of 0, which pretty much says all images do margin left 50 px, but this image, banner image with the class, I want 0 px. And when we do that, and we refresh our page, we see that our image is perfectly set up right here, taking the full width of the website. And even if on responsive, the image should get smaller. So pretty good. We created a banner image using a well-known CSS trick where we give the image in question a container. We don't have to do anything with the container. We just have to set the image inside to be 100% of the full width of the container, which gives it its length. And then we tell that picture to be as tall as the picture is. If we find that this is too tall, there is a way to change that. You just got to go into the image and say something like max height. Is that a real property? Let's see. 400px, and now it will take the full width, but it will get as long as it wants to, but it will stop at a certain point, 400px, which is going to be pretty small. Let's see. This is not going to look good, but let's take a look. And there you go. You can either set it to its original size, or you could try messing with the height, but then you're going to get some weird aspect ratio thing. So working with images is tough, but you can definitely make them fill the page. You can make them be the size you want. You just have to choose the right picture for the job. In the next lesson, we're going to be getting into creating a little bit of body content for our page, as well as creating a footer. See you at that one.